Okay, so now you're going to have information given to you in different ways. You still are always going to need the slope, and you're always going to need the y-intercept. Sometimes it's very straightforward where they'll say the slope is this and the y-intercept is that. Other times you have to do a little detective work. It says parallel to the line y equals negative 7x minus 5. All you care about there is the slope is negative 7. And it says parallel, so that means it's the same slope. So the slope is going to be negative 7. None of the other stuff in that equation means anything. You only wanted to borrow the slope from that parallel line. Then you can go right to y equals mx plus b. You know that the slope is negative 7. You can use your x and y of 1 and 3. So now I have 3 equals negative 7 plus b. Add the 7 back over to the other side, and you have b of 10. So now that b is 10, and the slope was negative 7, you can go ahead and write your final equation. Y equals negative 7x plus 10. Okay, and number 2, more detective work here. It says perpendicular to this line. So how are we going to find our slope? Well, the slope of the line they gave us is 1 over 4. But we want the line not parallel, but perpendicular to that. So instead of using the slope of 1/4, we flip it and change the sign because it's perpendicular. So the slope we're going to need is negative 4 over 1. Or you could just put negative 4. It'll be easier to deal with later. Then you go y equals mx plus b. The slope is negative 4. The point they gave you, the x is negative 12, and the y is 4. So we have 4 equals 48 plus b. I'm going to subtract 48 from both sides, and I'm going to end up with 4 minus 48 is negative 44, so that's my b. Kind of a strange y-intercept, but it is what it is. There's my slope. There's my y-intercept. Final answer, y equals negative 4x minus 44. So now try this one without me. I'll get you started. It says parallel again, so it's more like the first problem, number 1, that was parallel. That means we are going to use the exact same slope that they give us, and we don't care anything about the rest of that line. We just care that the slope is 3/4 and that we're going to use this point. So y equals mx plus b. Use this for your m, this for your x, and this for your y. Give it a shot. Okay, now I need you to flip to page 37. So this is the top of 37 here. And I want to do question A and question C. And then we'll take it from there tomorrow on this page. So question A says the word parallel, which means we're going to use the exact same slope that they gave us in this line. So the slope we're going to use is negative 3. Nothing else in that line means anything except the slope, just that we're using a slope parallel to that, and that the line goes through the point 1, 5. Y equals mx plus b. Our m is negative 3. Our x is 1. Our y is 5. Add 3 back. B is 8. So now that I have a slope and a y-intercept, you write the equation of the line. Y equals the slope x plus the y-intercept. Alright, let's try C. This time the word is perpendicular. So we don't use this because it's perpendicular. We need to use the negative reciprocal. So instead of 5 over 1, we're going to use the opposite of that and the flipped version of that, negative 1 over 5. Because negative 1 over 5 is the negative reciprocal of positive 5 over 1. Then we do y equals mx plus b. The m is negative 1/5. The x is negative 2. Notice I wrote it as a fraction because I want those both to be fractions. And the y is negative 3. So I have negative 3 equals, now you're going to multiply these on your calculators. Negative 1/5 times negative 2 over 1 is going to be positive 2/5. And then I'm going to subtract 2/5 from both sides. And b is going to be negative 3 minus 2/5. And that would be negative 3 2/5, or if you did it as a decimal, you could say negative 3.4. Either one of those is correct. And there's our slope. So when you connect those up to write your final equation of the line, we have a slope of negative 1/5 and a y-intercept of either negative 3 2/5 or negative 3.4, whatever you choose to write.